two of the guys that they're counting on, that's 18 shots with no goals accounted for, so they have to make their shots count.
Duke comes in as the number 2 team in the country, but a couple of big shoes to fill. Justin Guttering, a Tewaaraton finalist, and Danny Fowler, a great goalie for 4 years. So what do you expect out of the couple of guys for Duke? Cade Van Raphorst, the All-American, and Joe Robertson, the stud sophomore.
Well, Joe Robertson's had 48 goals last year. It's going to be interesting to see the matchups, how Jacksonville plays against him and how much attention they play. And then on the Jacksonville attack, who are they going to try to shut down with their tough, close defense? Will they try to crowd Pucci? Will they go after Applegate? Bo Hunter doesn't take a lot of space for him to shoot and score. So the close defense for Duke against this strong, young Jacksonville attack is going to be very interesting.
And coming away with a face-off win is the Duke Blue Devils, and Brian Smith puts a shot on right away, but a great stop by Hunter Sells, who had 17 saves in that loss to Detroit.
Hunter once again did a great job holding his position, not giving up a lot of space for that in-tight shot, and a nice clear as Winston carries it across.
So here comes Jacksonville, a team 0-1 under third-year head coach John Galloway. You see the decorated playing career for John Galloway, trying to bring that winning tradition and mindset to his Jacksonville Dolphins.
Jacksonville on the questions they have on midfield right now, they have to answer them quickly. Who are going to be the goal scorers? And Jeremy Winston, number 14, had a standout freshman year, so he's back as a sophomore. But we'll see who can fill up the goal for Jacksonville from the midfield.
Remember, new shot clock rule going into effect. We'll update you as much as we can. Right now for the Dolphins, 30 seconds on its opening possession.
And there's Eric Applegate, does draw that long pull, even though he's attacking from the midfield position at this point.
Van Raphorst on him.
Good patience by the Dolphins here early. There's Winston with the ball. He likes to initiate the offense.
There is Winston with JT Giles-Harris on him, going right to goal. Can't put it on net, and there's 10 seconds on the shot clock for the Dolphins.
Okay, they did call that a shot, and Jacksonville will retain possession. They did give him a reset on that, so I think they might have called a push. Having some clock issues here early with the new shot clock. 80 seconds to get that shot off on a change of possession.
Yeah, like you mentioned, Ray, it took a couple of seconds for it to reset. I didn't know if they were going to give him the shot on goal just because it went so high above the cage. But with Jacksonville, a team that you might expect against this great Duke lineup, maybe slowed down a little bit and having to go up-tempo.
And you'll see right there Matuszek in at attack with the short stick on him. So Duke is got number 11 covering Matuszek behind the goal. We'll keep an eye on that matchup.
Troy Hedinger, one of the fabulous freshmen coming in for Coach Galloway. See how far out these Jacksonville attackers are being played, even right towards midfield.
Evan Tyler down that right alley.
Tyler with the short stick on him, starting to attack, going in front as he collapses right in front of the goal. Still no signal.
Looking for that in the crease call. They can call it interference against Jacksonville. So Duke will get possession.
What did you think of that first possession out of Jacksonville, though?
It was interesting because you saw Bo Hunter, an attackman who likes to be around the cage, and Applegate, an attackman who likes to be around the cage, high from the goal, 20 yards from the goal with the ball. So setting up in that traditionally midfield position. So that was a change from what I'm accustomed to seeing out of this Jacksonville offense.
Now here comes Duke, Joey Manown. The junior had 4 goals against High Point. Making his first start is now there's Jake Sayout. He's really come on strong and had a nice little breakout performance in the first week of the season.
And one of the things that we see right here is Jacksonville's offensive middies are caught in on defense with Hedinger, and so we'll see if Duke tries to take advantage of that or if Jacksonville's going to try to get Hedinger off.
Riley Walsh's shot goes wide. So the Duke team went to the national championship a year ago, lost 13-11 to Yale. Trying to reload even without Justin Guttering. Shot. And a good ground ball picked up by the defense of Jacksonville.
Unsettled situation, dangerous situation in front of the goal. Sells is caught out.
And Joey Manown picks it up. Jacksonville only had 1 turnover on the clear last week, and already in the opening minutes, one that almost cost them a goal.
Last year in this matchup, Duke got out to a 9-2 lead in the first quarter, and Jacksonville's got to show some poise and keep this thing close for as long as possible, like Furman did in Week 1 and like High Point did in Week 2, 2 Southern Conference opponents for Duke.
Kevin Quigley, the midi.
When you're
Hedinger on him. Walsh with space.
When you're watching the Jacksonville middies, they want to keep them outside of those hash marks. So watch the angles that the Duke middies take, and if they get inside of the hash mark, it's dangerous.
Sayao swimming around, nearly turns it over. Walsh picks it up. Now with Manown and the freshman Jordan Young playing defense. Brad Smith, the top returning scorer for the Blue Devils, working his way around the cage.
Saw that pick right at the goal line extended. Duke attempted. Nice check, and they're going to call a hold.
And Manown lets it go, and like you said, it's going to be an opportunity for the man-up unit for Duke to take an early 1-0 lead.
Yeah, they're going to call that hold. The initial check was great. It was well-timed, but he just kind of held it in position and obstructed that Duke player from moving with the ball, so that's a 30-second penalty. You'll see him split back here to the left, get to the goal line extended. A nice check, it's on the stick right there, and then he just holds him. And that's a freshman mistake right there by Jordan Young.
5'8" freshman. And a penalty going against Jacksonville, and Duke's man-up unit just 2 for 8 on the season with a chance to take an early 1-0 lead on the road.
Expect to see Jacksonville pack it in and look for that outside shot from Duke and trust Hunter Sells can make the save. Don't expect to see Jacksonville press out too far or press behind the cage.
Walsh over to Manown. Now to Brad Smith. Pass too high. Dolphins trying to chase it.
Good check by Applegate at the midfield line. Heads up play. So Jacksonville is going to have the ball, being able to kill this penalty. They're going to get it back to the midfielder.
And there's a turnover out of Duke on the man-up advantage. It's something you can't do, and that's, yes, it's so early in the season that you're still working out new lineups and new guys filling in big roles. But, Ray, when you have a chance to take a lead on the road, you got to capitalize.
Yeah, and that's a win for Jacksonville, being able to hold the number 2 team in the country on their first extra man opportunity of the day. And a nice successful clear across the midfield line with the ball 60 seconds to set up their offense.
Jeremy Winston, one of 4 goal scorers who had 20 or more a year ago. Good pick set up. Winston driving hard.
Flag down. That's going to be a penalty for blowing up that pick on Giles Harris.
Dolphins settling down now. Still plenty of time on the shot clock.
Keep an eye on number 42, Jack Dolan. Traditionally in his past, he was a defensive midfielder, but now they call him a two-way midfielder. He plays offense and defense, old school style.
And that's part of it with the shot clock and the substitution rules. You want to just get out and run and take advantage in transition when you can, as the flag's still down on the field. 18 seconds on the shot clock for Jacksonville. Winston going to work once again. Opts not to shoot. Bowhunter.
Good patience by Jacksonville. No hurry. It's a free possession. They're getting the ball back for the extra man. Now they've got 6 seconds. They want to at least get a prayer at the goal.
Van Raphorst gets the ground ball, but it will bring the extra man unit for Jacksonville, which was very effective against Detroit in leading that comeback, which just fell a goal short. But 3 for 7 in that game last week.
Sean, the longer Jacksonville can keep this game close, the more questions for Duke, the more confidence for Jacksonville. There, he just blew up that pick. You can't do that. It was a nice offensive pick by Dolan. He takes one for the team. That beautiful Jacksonville Lacrosse Center in the background, brand new building.
Take one for the team right there. But yeah, like you mentioned, the Jacksonville Lacrosse Center and that project that was just completed a couple of months ago, Ray, just another tool to add to what Coach John Galloway is trying to build here.
Sean, I love watching extra man, especially with a dynamic offense like Jacksonville. Look at them pressing behind. Duke is really putting the pressure on Matuszek behind the goal. Jacksonville's got to move that ball quicker because Duke doesn't look man down. Everyone's covered. Somebody's got to be open. If they keep their spacing, they should be able to get a shot. Plenty of time, though, in this 1-minute penalty.
Eric Applegate looking in front, has a man, flag down.
I think that goal's going to
And they're going to count it. What a pass by Eric Applegate, setting up the goal. It looked like Jack Dolan in front, slipping behind the defense, Ray, and the Dolphins take a 1-0 lead.
Eric Applegate, a local product out of Ponte Vedra High School. Great vision. Jacksonville was patient on that. Duke was pressing out, harassing him, and you'll look at Eric playing with his head up right there, looks down low. Picture perfect feed. And that is Dolan. gets that cross-check in the back. The new dive rule in the past, that wouldn't have counted.
You mentioned the rule change. We talk about the substitution box shrinking a little bit. We talk about the shot clock. You need to get it over midfield within 20 seconds, and then the 80-second shot clock, you got to put something on net. But, Ray, like you mentioned, because the ball went in the back of the net by the time he fell in the crease, that's a good goal. What do you think about some of these rule changes and how these smaller schools, not the big blue bloods like Duke, have to adjust to these kinds of games?
Well, it's going to be interesting to see if these teams start taking wilder shots as that shot clock winds down. There's no penalty. That was wiped out by the goal, so we are at even strength. But it's going to be interesting, especially in the riding and clearing game. You'd expect a power team to be able to harass the newer, not experienced. Jacksonville, a much younger team, sophomores and freshmen playing key roles. So I think it's going to make this game so much more fun.
Jacksonville starting 5 freshmen again today. And meanwhile, Duke only starting 1 underclassman. That's Joe Robertson.
Look at the Jacksonville short stick middies press out.
Kai Montgomery, who had a breakout NCAA tournament, ties it up on his first shot of the game.
What a nice job by Montgomery. You always hear coaches say, get to the middle of the field. The front of the goal, you can see more white from the net when you get to the front of the goal. And when he split back to his right hand, Hunter Sells was kind of hung out to dry there on that one-on-one shot. Well placed by Montgomery.
The sophomore from Dallas who had a hat trick in the Final Four. Like you mentioned, Ray, just going right around the short stick, Hayden Levangie, who is Jacksonville's top short stick defender.
He is another local product out of Fleming Island High School in Clay County. Just a nice job by Montgomery getting his stick to the front of the goal. All you young players out there, listen to your coaches. Get your stick to the front.
I haven't touched on it yet, but this is where Jacksonville really struggled last week.
Alex Javinko is taking the faceoffs for Jacksonville. He is a transfer from Maryland, University of Maryland, on campus this spring. Not a lot of time with his teammates in the spring, but as you mentioned, they did struggle last week at Detroit, and so trying to change things up here. Not much success early for Jacksonville at the faceoff spot where Hunter Forbes last year was number 3 in the country, 73%. Tough shoes to fill.
And that was the biggest thing, 6 of 21 a week ago. But Coach Galloway really upset with how his team, especially on the wing, was going after ground balls. He said, you got to be tougher. You got to go out there and out-hustle your opponent. Those are the plays that end up winning games, even with this new shot clock rule.
So Jacksonville running into some picks behind the goal, and Duke throws one away. A battle at the midfield line. Well done to keep it in the offensive end for Duke. One thing to watch behind the goal when Duke has the ball, they're setting those picks right at the goal line extended. Jacksonville's defense has to communicate through those picks. Do you stay on your guy? Do you slip through the pick? So watch those picks at the goal line.
Sean Lowry, who's been spending time on the attack this year, started at the midfield last year, gets caught in trouble, and Jordan Young causes the turnover. What a way for a freshman to make up for his penalty earlier.
Great team defense by Jacksonville. It started off as a double team, and it turned into a triple team. In our meeting with Coach before the game, he talked about hedging and sliding, and you saw Jacksonville and the defense slide over and just slap a check in. Successful clear for Jacksonville.
Yes, by 2 seconds, Ray, but still, all you got to do is get it across before it gets under 60 seconds.
So Duke was being double-teamed, and then you saw Jordan Young slip over and throw a check from a triple-team position, so very aggressive. Jacksonville's not backing down to Duke on the defensive end of the field.
Jeremy Winston now in the hands of Captain Evan Tyler. Now Jack Pucci, one of those other fabulous freshmen we were talking about before the game, Ray, that not only want to make an impact now, but you have to think the future's bright for this team and the way they've been recruiting this past year.
We talked about who would Van Raphorst.
Great save made by Upgren, who had a tough day back on Wednesday, and even a tough start to his Duke career, even as a senior. Not a lot of time in the cage, but right there standing tall.
Took one right in the noggin. Good job holding his position. Goalie didn't flinch, didn't move, and made a nice save. And we had talked about who would Van Raphorst be covering, and he's on Eric Applegate, so keep an eye on that matchup. Applegate is the Dodger on that attack.
Looking for Bo Bohunter. The freshman dives, and they're going to say no goal, but a penalty marker's down.
They're going to call that push. It looked like his foot was in the crease. It wasn't a dive-related penalty. His foot was in the crease. But if you watch the skill of Bo Hunter, watch him cross his hands. He's got it in his left hand. It's still in his left hand. There's the foot in the crease.
His foot does land before the ball goes to the back of the net, but still, like you mentioned, Bo Hunter, a really talented freshman that comes out of the Hill Academy. Featured Chris Cloutier, most outstanding player at the Final Four a couple of years ago for North Carolina. Also, the Gate brothers, and so many other great lacrosse players.
So another extra man opportunity for Jacksonville. This is the 32nd variety, so we'll see if Duke comes out as aggressive as they did before and how quickly Jacksonville gets into their man-up offense. We've got Kieran Burns up there at the point at the top. He's a traditional attackman transfer from Villanova. Expect to see him featured today out here on the man-up.
Winston bouncing front, and a turnover for Jacksonville on the man-up, so 1 of 2 here in the first quarter.
Keep an eye on number 6 for Jacksonville. Tommy Barnhorst, just a do-everything player. One of the top LSMs for this Jacksonville team.
Now number 6 for Duke, John Prendergast. Defensive midi sprinting off the field to get the subs on for Duke.
Sayal with the ball, the grad student, son of Junior Sayal. Very dynamic player, had a good game against High Point.
6'2", 205. It's going to take 2 guys to defend him today. Loose ball. Sells looking to track it down.
Jacksonville is very aggressive on defense. They're coming with those slides and doubles. Coach Galloway questioning the referee whether that was a shot or not.
It's a loose ball, but a good double team coming around again. That was the strategy from Coach Galloway to make sure these Duke players weren't getting such great looks and helping out Hunter Sells after his great performance last Saturday with 17 saves.
That shorty-on-shorty matchup with the pick coming early. Levangie on defense.
Defending Riley Walsh. The junior from New York sending it back to Brad Smith. Wind-up shot, but it goes wide for Kevin Quigley.
What
but
great
Duke
ball
there
movement.
to back it up.
Yes, great ball movement by Duke, just getting ahead of that pressure. They had the look they wanted, just off the mark.
Sayal with the ball once again with the short stick on him. Leading scorer for Duke on the year. Sayal turning. Brad Smith, and the shot clock expires.
Great defensive effort by Jacksonville. And we talked about Jack Dolan, number 42. He was there on Sayal on defense, a two-way midfielder. You'll see him in the set offense right there. Stout defense by 42 Dolan.
And you could tell, too, that there wasn't a lot of urgency from Duke because some of these players, you'd have to think, Ray, that they're not thinking about a shot clock all the time. You're trying to focus on what spots to pick and choose, that you have to remember that you might have 5 or 10 seconds left in your possession.
And Jacksonville's got them thinking, where's that slide coming from? Where's the next double coming from? And you saw the Jacksonville bench jump and show a lot of excitement, and that's the energy. Keep it close in this first quarter. Get the confidence that you can play with this team. High Point obviously beat them. There's a shot. High Point beat them, but Furman played with them for 2.5 quarters. So the Southern Conference should have confidence that they can come out and play with the big ACC boys.
Coach Galloway, he was just jumping up and down after the last turnover by the Blue Devils. Watching as his team tries to take a 2-1 lead towards the end of the first quarter. Applegate. Good spin, a shot, and a goal.
Evan Tyler, watch the way he switches hands on this, because Duke was coming with the early slides and heavy pressure, and just a nice little split dodge by Evan Tyler.
The captain, Evan Tyler, named towards the end of preseason, 1 of 6 on this Jacksonville roster, but a player that Coach Galloway was saying just one of the most impressive workers on the field in the offseason, beating Upgren, and just like that, Jacksonville back in front once again in this low-scoring affair.
That just goes to show you don't have to shoot it 100 miles an hour to score in lacrosse. That was just a well-placed left-handed shot off stick side to the goalie, and he beats him, and Jacksonville's got a lead with 2:31 to go in the first quarter.
Ground ball picked up by the Fogo, Brian Smith.
Jacksonville struggling a little bit again on the faceoffs.
Smith with a clear look at the cage.
He made contact with the goalie.
They're going to say it's a good goal. Nobody picked up Smith. Say thank you very much. I'll score my first goal of the year. And the lapse in judgment by Jacksonville is quickly a 2-2 game.
Got to pay attention to those long poles. These guys spend a lot of time in transition, especially those face-off logos and wingmen. Just uncovered. Somebody's got to slide to him. Nobody slides. Nobody slides. I'm walking in. Get that stick back to the middle. Backhanded shot.
Almost daring him to shoot, and yeah. Nice little toe drag right there to make sure he was out of the crease before the ball had a chance to go in.
That was just so much room. You would expect a Jacksonville player to come and make some contact that close to the goal. Coach Galloway talked about getting in the 6-on-6 half-field defense where they were very successful last week. The transition is just troubling.
Face-off one by Hunter Turner. That's the first time we've seen him today.
That's a good miss for Jacksonville. Only 4 seconds off that play clock, shot clock, so Jacksonville gets to set up their offense. And with 2 minutes to go in the opening quarter, they have the ball all tied up.
That was right after taking the lead moments ago. Winston getting the pick, has room, but a save made by Upgren.
Great save, and they're pushing it upfield, trying to get that up-tempo offense. Jacksonville struggled in transition last week. Here's a 54, 5-on-4 break.
Shot, and Prendergast gives Duke the lead.
These fast breaks don't always have to be 4-on-3. That's what we call a 54. It was a 5-on-4. So even though Jacksonville stopped the point man on the break, they had another trailer, did Duke, and they moved the ball to that fifth player against 4 defenders and got a wide-open shot. Great technique on that shot and release. You see Coach Danowski's pleased with that short-time goal.
The defensive guys turning it into a quick goal. Peter Welch, the long stick mini, right after the great save made by Upgren. Left it for John Prendergast.
What a great overhand shot. Nice release, high-to-low release, beats Sells, and Duke's got a 3-2 lead.
Duke's most experienced player. He's played in every game since he was a freshman. Now his 60th game in his Duke career.
So Hunter Turner was on the draw for Jacksonville that time. It was won by Duke, so we'll keep an eye on those face-off stats that seem to be a little lopsided early here.
Blue Devils try to take advantage. Got a 10-second differential between the shot clock and where we are on the game clock. Brad Smith, who's been injured since the preseason, making his first start, 27 blue.
That 6-on-6 defense, like we're in right now for Jacksonville, is where Jacksonville thinks they can have success against Duke. Those transition goals and those goals off the faceoff are very troubling.
Garrett Ledman, the pass to Joey Manown. And just like that, Duke has blitzed Jacksonville at the end of the first quarter.
What a great feed. Cross-cage feed to the wide open. Quickly finished right on the doorstep. Jacksonville may have been caught ball watching. We'll see that goal scorer and what his defender was doing during that pass.
There's Garrett Ledman. Pretty much the only freshman we're going to see from Duke, at least if this game stays close. And Joey Manown waiting right on the doorstep, but a quick bang-bang play. You got to love the play from the freshman. And showing a little emotion after it, too.
What great vision on that pass. You'd like to have a stick in the lane. Maybe the goalie bats that one down. It's coming across his crease, but you can't leave a wide-open Duke attackman on the doorstep.
Manown, who tied a career-high 4 goals against High Point on Wednesday.
So Jacksonville gets the ball off that face-off violation.
Much-needed possession with 45 seconds left in the first quarter after Duke has scored 3 consecutive goals in the last 2 minutes.
So heavy pressure on the wing player. That's going to be Deacon. They didn't get it across. I'm not sure what that violation was. I have to check into that. It's Duke ball.
I seen they just blew the whistle and gave it over. I didn't see anything towards the cage as far as a push or shove or anything that went down over there.
Bad break for Jacksonville, finally getting the ball off of a face-off. 20 seconds to go.
A chance for Duke to take a comfortable lead into the second quarter.
Duke is attacking on those shorties behind. Inverting is what we call it. Those middies carrying the ball behind with the short stick on them. Got the defender hung up. No hurry for Jacksonville.
Brad Smith with 4 seconds. Looking to go around. Has to put one up at the buzzer. And it goes in the back of the net. It's Joe Robertson. They're going to count the goal. And in the last 2+ minutes, Ray, Duke was down 2-1 and scores 4 straight to take a 5-2 lead into the second.
Very similar to the prior goal where somebody's just wide open on that back pipe. Duke does a nice job drawing all the attention to one side and slipping the ball through traffic to a wide open man on the backside.
After a slow offensive start, the Duke attackmen have woken up. Now it's up to Jacksonville to take some adjustments and climb back here in its home opener. Right at the end of the first quarter, Brad Smith to Joe Robertson, and Duke is starting to feel comfortable on the road, up 5.
I started this tech business in 2000. I had 5 people working for me. We've grown to a scale of over 500 people in 23 states. We do a lot of large Fortune 100 companies on a national basis. We're the official AV provider for the Baltimore Ravens. I love working at M&T Bank Stadium. As the company has grown, M&T has continued to change their relationship with us and grow with us. They were very flexible in the terms. They provide us capital lines and operating lines. M&T has been a great business partner for us.
Wow, what a nice place. All right, Grandma, what are you doing here?
Eat.
Okay. I'll see you on Sunday.
Bye-bye.
Make it what you want.
Due to the citywide outbreak, you were advised to take shelter at the police station.
Anybody here?
I don't like the sound of that.
We're getting out of here. Leon!
My mission is to take down Umbrella's entire operation. They're secretly making bioweapons.
Count me in.
Available now for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. Rated M for mature.
When late night cravings strike, you can now get rewarded and keep the party going. Introducing a rewards program made to keep modern life moving.
Start of the second quarter in Jacksonville, and it's been a little tough first quarter for Hunter Sells, the junior goalkeeper for Jacksonville. That, Ray, you were talking about his defense, including Dixon Smith, a little bit of ball watching, and just taking a look at what Sells has done this year and Turner Upgren, especially after that tough fourth quarter on Wednesday, rebounding with 4 saves in the first quarter.
What we've seen early on right now is Jacksonville heavy pressure ball side, and Duke is looking to the backside, and those last 2 goals were nice backside feeds. And here we are, Duke with the ball off of face-off once again. They were 5 of 7 in the first quarter and starting 1-0 here early.
Turnover on the crossfield pass, and now it's Jordan Young going upfield.
Got to push it. They've got numbers in transition. This is a 4-on-3 fast break for Jacksonville.
They're looking for Bo Hunter, the freshman. Loses the handle on the ball, but gets it.
Wouldn't expect to see a timeout here.
Just barely gets it off with the defenseman Young finally getting back as Jeremy Winston checks in.
So Jacksonville had a 43, but Duke handled it so well and brought heavy pressure on Bo Hunter.
After 3 goals in his career debut, can tell that he's been the focus of the Duke defense through 15 minutes.
There's the freshman Berkeley. He's got a shorty in the invert position behind the goal. Duke is really moving well off ball and staying with their cutters. That's a problem they had against High Point. Middies were getting wide open, streaking and shooting on the run off those great feeds.
Jacksonville still working the ball around. Good run to the cage, but a shot that looks like it bounced off the pipe, Ray, and Jacksonville can't buy a bounce.
Boy, Jack Dolan, we saw him playing great defense earlier, and that was an opportunity for him in the offensive end, and just came up a little bit short. Decent possession for Jacksonville, and good ride for Jacksonville as the ball gets turned over back to the JU Dolphins.
Beat Upgren, he didn't know it went past him. But Jacksonville, like you mentioned, Ray, forcing yet another turnover. It's not making up for the difference in ground balls and face-off wins for Duke, but it's at least keeping this one close.
Jacksonville trying to get across that midfield line, break the clear with 10 seconds it took them to get across, so plenty of time to set up their offense.
I haven't seen a lot of Jack Pucci this afternoon. He had 3 assists, and he's another big body at 6'5". Wouldn't you expect the kid out of Syosset to probably make some plays around the crease?
That was what I expected to see, but you've got confidence in Matushik there at attack. Scored a bunch of goals last year.
Eric Applegate, the senior captain, who has 2 assists already. Tyler rolls back, has a good look, and Jacksonville cuts it to a 2-goal deficit.
What I loved about Evan Tyler's play right there is he went back to his right hand, left hand, right hand. We saw him score earlier left-handed, and there he scores right-handed, and you'll see it right there. Right inside, about 2 yards out. Goalie came off his pipe. Left a lot of space, and Evan Tyler made the most of it.
With a lot of freshmen on the field for Jacksonville right now, it's the upperclassmen stepping up. Tyler now has 2 goals, and it's Eric Applegate who's been instrumental in this offense, setting up all 3 goals.
Coach Galloway mentioned that he wanted his players to dodge, and re-dodge. If you don't get it the first time you go at your guy, try again, and you saw re-dodging right there, and Evan Tyler gets his 2nd goal of the game, and it was a pretty one.
Barnhorst battling for that ground ball. And they're going to give it to Jacksonville. But that's what you want to see more of, Rafe. You're a Dolphin fan and want to see this team play a little tougher and show that it can hang with a team like the number 2 team in the country. You got to be tougher on those midfield plays.
Coach Galloway refers to it as a ground ball battle, not a face-off battle. He wants to get that one-on-one mix-up, and he wants his Dolphins to come up with it, and we saw it there. If you don't win the draw, it doesn't mean you lose the face-off. Here comes Dolan on the shorty at the goal line extended.
Dolan 1 goal already today.
Look how quickly that slide and that switch comes.
With Van Raphorst, not many better defenders you're going to see this year, if any. Now it's in the hands of Eric Applegate. Draws the short stick. Winston looks ready to shoot. Applegate losing his footing and gets it knocked out of his hands. Took a little too long to make a decision.
Once he rolled back into trouble, got the stick checked right out of his hands, and here comes Duke in an extra man opportunity.
Welch to Robertson, but Sells somehow makes the save.
Here's an opportunity. This is a 5-on-3. Now it's back to a 5-on-4.
Dolan slows up the pace, and Duke's defense now can reset.
That's a good decision by Jacksonville. You've got it back to 2 goals. You've got the ball.
Tyler past the long stick mini. Welch, but can't finish. Right to Bowhunter.
Once again, good patience by Jacksonville. You don't have to attack every time you have the ball in your stick.
Looking in front again, but a risky pass.
They might call a hold interference against Duke. Jacksonville ball. Watch Duke's defense. It's called recovering. Once you slide, the man who was originally on the ball has to go find somebody else. That's recovering, and Duke is just doing a good job of sliding and recovering right now.
Ball that almost found its way to the back of the net. Bad pass is a turnover, and it's going back to Duke.
A little bit of a force there on offense, but once again, good heads-up play by Duke, aggressive defense, and now they're clearing the ball.
Battle between the mentor and the mentee, John Galloway, and obviously head coach John Danowski, the 3-time national champion, and even John Galloway, 2 national championships at Syracuse as a freshman and a sophomore. The 2-1 gold, and even Matt Danowski on the sideline for Duke, team captain of that Team USA team that, well, somehow won a couple of thrilling 1-goal games against Canada. The one, obviously, to win the gold medal with a goal with 1 second left.
I think both of these coaches know that national championships and conference championships aren't won in February. You know, taking a loss early isn't the end of the world. Does your team get better every time they step on the field? That's the big question.
That's what Coach Galloway said to us, too, is he's not even worried about Duke. He just wants his team to get more comfortable, get out there, play 60 more minutes, because he knows his team's going to be an underdog for the next couple of weeks. Brad Smith for Duke. Sayao Pass wide.
Barnhorst on the slide right there. Got his stick in the lane and wreaked a little havoc on that Duke offense. So talk about number 6. He does everything. You see him face off on the wing, LSM, and that's just heads-up play. Great clearing pass from Sells up to the freshman, Berkeley.
5'7" kid out of New Jersey. Duke now 6 turnovers, trying to keep that number low after 18 on Wednesday. The pick, setting up the shot, but Drosos can't finish. Ground ball scooped up by Van Raphorst, the All-American. Starting the break for Brad Smith, one-on-one with Jordan Young.
Good hustle by Jacksonville to get back and get into the hole and find your man, limit the transition opportunities, and that's what Jacksonville did. Now let's see what they can do in 6-on-6. That's where they feel comfortable.
Duke's defense quiet once again after that 4-goal outburst at the end of the first quarter.
This close defense of Jacksonville has done a nice job so far. 41, Dixon Smith, sophomore. Sam Dovan, number 28, and the freshman Jack Heed.
Nakai Montgomery looking for his second goal, but he's denied in front.
What a save by Hunter Sells.
Ball is loose. I don't know if they called a crease violation or what, Ray, but still Jacksonville comes up with a huge stop.
Hunter Sells isn't a big guy in goal, but he made himself big right there. Stayed tall and made the big save. There's Pucci with the ball now, getting a lot of attention.
3 assists last Saturday against Detroit. Also had 10 shots, 5 of them on goal. Couldn't get his first career goal, but Coach Galloway loved that he was still staying confident in his game and trying to lead his team to a comeback.
He's got a short stick on him behind the goal right now. That's a matchup he must just dream about.
Look at that, 6'5", going up against Terry Lindsay, the senior. Bad pass, Winston trying to chase it down.
I think they're going to say that was deflected.
It's going to stay with Jacksonville. Good catch there, Ray.
Boy,
Tyler splits, running right, but nobody was cutting for him.
Playing with a pep in his step. He wants that ball on his stick. Now he's got the matchup behind. Triple teamed.
And he draws a flag, so Jacksonville going to get its third man-up opportunity the half. 10 seconds on the shot clock for the Dolphins. Applegate to Bowhunter, lets it rip and beats Upgren 5-hole, and just like that, it's a 1-goal game.
Boy, the vision of Applegate, just to see the open player and Bowhunter with that little submarine shot, gets Jacksonville back to a 1-goal deficit. But the vision of Applegate, we saw it earlier on his first assist. He had a short stick on him. Traditionally, an attackman might think, I've got the shorty, I need to go, go, go. There's Applegate with the shorty just back across his body, and Bowhunter lets it go.
There's a bounce shot, too. Beats him low, and how about that? We heard the story from John Galloway saying that Bowhunters, like the Italians, in kicking and screaming. If you remember that Will
Give
Ferrell
it to
movie,
Massimo.
They call him Massimo because they tell him just give him the ball and everybody just get out of the way.
You'll see the wing is vacated for Duke right now, so Jacksonville will have the extra man opportunity, and they have an advantage if they can get this face-off. They've got that whole far side of the field wide open.
But another face-off win for Smith, who has come ready to play. Was 10 of 23 last year against Jacksonville, but he's been dominating the face-off X in the first half.
We'll see if Jacksonville tries to double-team the ball. They're man up right now, so they've got an extra defender, but what a great win for Duke to try to kill this penalty.
Try to stop the momentum for the Dolphins after back-to-back goals in the second quarter.
In the old days, you used to go double-team the ball, but these attackmen are so good, and you don't really practice doubling the ball, and you can find yourself in an odd situation, so most teams just concede it and let that penalty be killed.
Riley Walsh holding his Jack Dolan, content to just give him a little cushion.
You'll see the D midfielder, Troy Hedinger, just all alone in front of the goal, not covering anybody. He'll look to slide if Duke tries to press it, but I think they'll be confident just killing this last 30 seconds of the penalty. Unfortunate for Jacksonville, but listen, it's a 1-goal game right now. You don't need to push it and get risky.
And now, Ray, 20 seconds on the shot clock as Duke goes to full strength. So not a ton of time for Riley Walsh. Passes off to Manown. His shot low and wide of the cage. Sells was there, though. Duke backs it up, but with 8 seconds.
They're going to reset the shot clock there. I think they might say Sells deflected it. They had another good look at the cage just off the mark, or Sells, I should say, made the save.
Yeah, it took him a couple of seconds to reset it, so now a fresh 80-second shot clock for Duke.
Jacksonville's turning these slides into doubles right now, which is good if you can keep the pressure on, but leave somebody wide open.
Dolan on Walsh. Off to Jake Seau. He's been quiet this afternoon.
There's a double.
Here comes the double. Dolphins don't force the turnover yet, and Jordan Young absolutely laid out a Blue Devil.
We're going to call it a injury timeout, but aggressive defense. I saw that double coming. Jacksonville's doing some interesting things on defense. They're hedging, which means you make the adjacent player think you're going to slide, but then they bring it. Every other time they're either faking it or bringing it, and that time they brought it and caused a turnover.
Riley Walsh being helped off the field after getting tattooed on the last play. But earlier, Nakai Montgomery looked like he was going to extend the Duke lead, but right there, just a good, strong play. Like you said, he's under 5'10", but he's coming up huge so far in the first half.
So the ride by Duke, very high ride. They've got everyone stacked up at the midfield line. Jacksonville gets across with 65 seconds to go in this shot clock. So Dolan has the ball now as Jacksonville tries to even it.
That was after the blitz by the Blue Devils at the end of the first quarter. It was 5-2, and now 10 minutes into the second quarter, Dolphins with a chance to go 3 straight on its run.
What a great crowd here at Jacksonville. They've got the unique sideline seating in the Adirondack chairs for season ticket holders. Sold out are those sideline seats.
It's cold too, Ray. It's about maybe 60 degrees on that field today.
Cold in North Florida.
There you go.
Balmy.
Everything's relative, right?
Up in Syracuse where you went to school and where I grew up.
Yeah, that's when you love playing indoors, right, Ray?
I don't know. Ankle-deep snow's not too bad.
Here's Pucci up top for Bowhunter. His shot wide, and boy, did that have some zip on it, Ray.
Pucci to Bowhunter. Get used to hearing that. Bowhunter with that low-to-high shot once again, just off the mark, but Jacksonville maintains possession.
Get the ball to the Italians, Ray.
Nice grab by Winston.
Shot clock didn't reset. Winston has 5. Shoved to the ground by Giles Harris.
That is a shot clock violation. Winston lost his footing trying to get to the goal line extended and cut back to the middle. Just lost his edge.
JT Giles Harris, another defenseman of All-American caliber, also played in the World Championships for Puerto Rico this summer.
So we're seeing the second midfield line for Duke. Liedman with the ball.
Montgomery back on the field as well, also with Cameron Baddour.
So Jeremy Winston, the offensive midfield player, stuck on defense right now. We'll see if Duke can take advantage of that.
Ledman with a lane. Already has a goal today. Now back to Brad Smith. Top returning scorer for the Blue Devils. Gets his shot blocked.
Nice defense.
And another turnover forced. There's Zach Deacon starting the break. With a lane, but once again, Ray, we're starting to see this game plan from Jacksonville. You want to be quick, you want to pick and choose your spots, but they're also not in much of a hurry. And you got to like that, especially because you're playing a team in Duke that has so much size and talent. You got to stay patient, right? I noticed you were saying that a lot in the opening minutes. You like the possessions out of Jacksonville, but what about the transition?
Well, it started with Zach Deacon with a takeaway.
Tyler's third goal ties it up.
Evan Tyler is demonstrating that he can go lefty or righty, and when his defender has to decide which way, he's got a 50-50 chance of getting it right, and Evan Tyler's choosing right, and he's picking his spots today. The captain leading the charge as Jacksonville ties it up. So that's Pucci. Just a little spin dodge.
Great
keeps it in his
roll
right
around
hand.
Giles Harris of all people, Ray. But that's the one thing with Duke is the Blue Devils call a timeout. You're getting those matchups with Van Raphorst and Giles Harris one-on-one. So if you beat him, you got a pretty good look at a goal. And with the Duke timeout, we'll head to break with 2:18 left in the first half. Dolphins maybe looking to take a lead into the locker room when we return.
This school is so special. We're not just a number in a system. We're cared about. We're loved.
Empowering women means that you are actually empowering entire communities. We are unlike any other school in this city. Without M&T Bank, this school would not be possible. They too believe that there is a story that we have to tell and that we are partnered with making Baltimore better for our future.
I feel very empowered. This school changed my life.
Wow. What a nice place. All right, Grandma. What are you doing here?
Eat.
Okay. I'll see you on Sunday.
Bye-bye.
Make it what you want.
3 school, and every once in a while you'd have students lined up along the fence that close.
What a second quarter for Duke and Jacksonville. The Dolphins outscoring the Blue Devils 3-0, and just like that, it is a 5-5 ball game. And Ray, you noticed something big in the demeanor between both teams going to the huddles after the Duke timeout.
After that Duke timeout, the Duke players were walking back to the bench to get their marching orders. The Jacksonville players were running to each other with excitement and celebration. And obviously, they know who Duke is. They know the names on the front of the jersey. But they are confident that they can play with these guys. They've done it for a half. Can they do it for 4 quarters?
And this team's so young and inexperienced, but John Galloway so high on his young guys, saying, look, if I didn't think they could play with Duke, Marquette, Michigan, all those teams that are coming up, I wouldn't be playing them. And right now it's just the process of watching these guys grow up.
A lot of experimentation at the face-off. Different guys taking it. Right now we have 2 poles on the wing.
So far, it hasn't mattered in the first, 28 minutes for Brian Smith. Whatever Jacksonville has thrown at him, he is really wiped away with ease. And the Blue Devils have the ball with just over 2 minutes, and this is where the Blue Devils had their run at the end of the first quarter.
Well, I'm not saying Jacksonville's conceding those face-offs, but they are taking a defensive posture. Listen, if we're going to lose the face, we're going to have our poles out there to play 6-on-6 defense. Let's not give up a fast break.
C.J. Carpenter with the Blue Devils, and like Ray mentioned in the first quarter, Jacksonville had one of the top 5 Fogos in college lacrosse last year. Of course, everybody's playing for second with Trevor Baptiste, but Hunter Forbes, 73% face-off win percentage, and now is trying to find a guy who can at least step up and partly fill those shoes.
Good physical defense by Heed.
Smith lets it go. Sells can't make the save, and Manown's there to back it up.
He let it go, but Heed was in his gloves disrupting him, and that's what made that shot go wide. He kept his pressure. Listen, give him a shot, but shove him and make him off balance when he takes that shot. Watch this pick right at the X position.
Young stays with Joey Manown. Sean Lowry, who has 1 goal today, being pestered by the Dolphins defense, taking a more aggressive approach. And Duke takes the lead on its first goal of the second quarter. Joey Manown with a much-needed lift in the final minute of the first half.
You see number 3, Jordan Young, the freshman defender for JU, get hung up right at that X position behind the goal, and all it took was 1 step to that top side. No help came, and Jordan Young just lost his footing at the X position. Nice little quick little ankle breaker on this first move. Watch 3 has to jump over the goal.
A little too quick, and Manown, the 5'7" junior from Rhode Island.
You'd expect a little help coming, but I think Coach Galloway told his guys, listen, you have to play one-on-one defense right there, and all it took was Manown to get that 1 step to the front side.
How about Manown starting to show, not that he can fill the void left by Justin Gutterding, as a face-off win goes to Jacksonville. Dolan nearly turns it over at midfield. You're thinking Jacksonville should call a timeout here, Ray?
Once they get it in the box, I think they will. They have to step it in inside that 30-yard line.
Either way, with no Gutterding, Manown with 2 goals, at least is one of the big upperclassmen that have to score and take over that points differential. He's come ready to play on the road, and with just under 45 seconds left in the first half, Jacksonville uses its first timeout. And Coach John Galloway looking to draw up something as his team looks to go into the locker room tied up at 6.
This school is so special. We're not just a number in a system. We're cared about, we're loved.
Empowering women means that you are actually empowering entire communities. We are unlike any other school in this city. Without M&T Bank, this school would not be possible. They too believe that there is a story that we have to tell and that we are partnered with making Baltimore better for our future.
I feel very empowered. This school changed my life.
Wow. What a nice place. All right, Grandma. What are you doing here?
Eat.
Okay. I'll see you on Sunday.
Bye-bye.
Make it what you want.
Dolphins looking to tie it up at 6 before going into the locker room. 66 seconds on the shot clock, so Ray, it really can't hold for the last shot. What are you drawing up if you're Coach Galloway in the huddle?
Well, it was a great timeout because you don't want to turn it over and give Duke a chance to extend their lead. So I wouldn't expect Jacksonville to go towards the goal till maybe 20, 15 seconds because you don't want Duke to have a chance to score. So you're just going to look for somebody to beat their man, get the defense moving, and find the open guy.
Dolan one-on-one with Prendergast. Now over to Eric Applegate, who has 3 assists already. Matched up with Cade Van Raphorst, the All-American. Going right at the long pole. Nearly loses his footing. Lets it go and ties it up. Eric Applegate one-on-one. No fear. And how about that? What a half for the senior leading the charge, hoping his Jacksonville Dolphins can have its biggest win in program history today.
We saw the vision of Applegate earlier with 2 goals, but look at the power and the way he gets his stick back to the middle of the field. Young guys, right hand, no angle. Gets it back to the left. Look at all the cage he can see once he gets back to the middle of the field and just powers this one right past Upgren.
And again, like we talked about with Van Raphorst and Giles Harris, the 2 great close defenders, they don't get a lot of help because Coach Danowski trusts them so much one-on-one.
We've got the LSM facing off for Jacksonville. That's Barnhorst. Wants to bring that early pressure to the ball. Make it a ground ball battle. Might see another timeout here if they can get it in. No,
broken
not with 12
stick
seconds.
for Duke. Barnhorst trying to track it down right before it goes out of bounds. Can't save it.
Now you just got to pay attention on defense. Don't let anyone catch the ball back up in that offensive end. So there's the pass upfield.
Jack Fowler.
Oh, penalty.
Flag down. The ball rolls past the cage.
Wow.
Moving.
Whoa.
Good work of Paul and Minnie McCord.
And after the Jack.
In 2000, I had 5.
It was a problem at Detroit. 17-7 is a big disparity. It's
ESPN.
So that senior leadership is what really stood out at me.
Well, in a 2-1 game, right after Jacksonville took the lead, it wasn't for long because Brian Smith, the Fogo, took it all the way uninterrupted, and that's when Duke started its blitz with 4 straight goals to end the first quarter.
Duke takes advantage of defensive breakdowns. We've seen it behind the goal. We've seen it in front of the goal. So Jacksonville just has to play sound defense. A little bit of ball watching on back-to-back goals. Looking for that backside feed. We've seen it twice right there, back-to-back. So clean up a little bit on defense for Jacksonville. Stop ball watching. Don't have those one-on-one breakdowns, and they're going to stay with Duke for 4 quarters.
Joey Manown's goal that gave the Blue Devils the lead, but not for long as Jacksonville tied it up. But for the Dolphins, past this team full after a loss to Colgate.
Well, you see the gray,
yesterday.
the gray shaded area. You've got Penn State. That's a team that Jacksonville is going to play this year. Syracuse lost yesterday to Colgate. Inexcusable. The Orange fans and alumni like yourself must be a little sideways about that. But listen, this is Division I lacrosse. These players They come from all over the country. We've seen guys from Dallas, guys from out west, all over the field. And to start the second half, we've got Duke in a man-up opportunity.
So no face-off to start the third quarter. And Duke with a chance to regain the lead in the opening seconds.
So once again, Jacksonville packed in on defense, threatening, allowing Duke to maybe take that outside shot and trusting Sells. Good ball movement so far.
A full minute penalty after the cross-check right in the waning seconds of the first half. Pass in front, and Manown finishes on the doorstep.
Might be another case of ball watching right there. A nice little head fake by that feeder, looking down low, and Jacksonville allowed a pass right on the doorstep once again, and Sells got to be asking his defense, listen, give me the outside shot, I'll take those, but these doorstep shots, they are hard to save.
Another hat trick for Joey Manown, the junior. 4 goals against High Point Wednesday, 3 already in the opening minute of the third quarter, and you can just see finding his way to sneak behind the defense, Ray, and it's worked well for Duke a couple of times.
Well, you're going to have somebody open when you're 6-on-5. You want it to be the man furthest from the ball. That's exactly what happened there. Jacksonville should be able to get a stick in the lane. It was a great pass and a great finish, but Jacksonville's got to find a way to play 6-on-6 defense. Here's a breakdown.
Smith gets his second goal of the day, and just like that, in the blink of an eye, Duke has come out ready to play in the third quarter.
This is going to be a gut check time for Jacksonville. They gave up the extra man goal, and that was a face-off win, and a defender slipped, and it allowed a 4-on-3 break. And from the face-off spot right to the goal and has a 2-goal lead.
Again, the Maryland transfer, Giovinco, just beaten, and then it doesn't help when Jack Dolan slips and falls. Nobody there to pick up Smith.
You saw Heed come in a little bit late. He tried to slide to that open man, and face-off win once again. It's hard. It's so difficult to get that momentum back if you lose in face-offs.
Jacksonville 6 of 21 last week at Detroit in a 1-goal loss.
The good news is for Jacksonville is they're 6-on-6 right now. The first goal was extra man. The second one was transition off the face-off. You have a shot clock right now. You know you're going to get the ball back if you can stop them.
Dolphins still just 5 of 14 on the afternoon. Jake Seau. Back to Manown. Jordan Young pressing, trying to make things tougher for the Blue Devils after back-to-back goals in 30 seconds.
Good defense, topside defense by Jordan Young.
Seau rolls back, gives it to Brad Smith. As Dixon Smith on him, the Dolphins' best defender. Levangie, the short stick, gets beat. Now Seau winds up, and it's a blitz for the Blue Devils out of the gates in the second half. 3 straight goals to take a 9-6 advantage.
Way too much time and space for Seau there 10 yards in. Once again, Hunter Sells is being asked to do a lot, and Seau just rifled that from 10 yards.
The number 2 team in the country has come out angry, looking to avoid a second straight loss to a SoCon team this week, and Jacksonville forced to call timeouts.
Give Seau a step-down opportunity from 10 yards. That's tough.
The farm has been in the family since the 1700s, and we have 4 generations living here today. Bordy is Maryland's oldest winery, and currently we produce about 450,000 bottles of wine per year, and we're distributed in 5 states. M&T Bank has been a tremendous partner to our business. They've been following our evolution, our growth very closely. They've provided capital at just the right times. We have good years and bad years, but M&T has been with us through thick and thin.
Wow. What a nice place. All right, Grandma. What are you doing here?
Eat.
Okay. I'll see you on Sunday.
Bye-bye.
Make it what you want.
Duke is awake after going into the break and talking to head coach John Danowski. 2 goals in the first 30 seconds. The second one by Fogo Brian Smith. And then just moments ago, Jake Seau whole lot of room. Oh, man, the fifth-year senior going to make you pay, and it's just not much Hunter Sells can do in goal.
He had time to catch that left-handed, position himself, switch back to his right hand.
Eat his breakfast,
and 10 yards out before anyone even was close, and Sells is just hung out to dry again. Jacksonville's got to find something at the face-off spot right now. They really do, because it's just unsettling to keep giving Duke the ball back. Your defense is going to get tired at some point.
And this is a point to be made too, Ray, because Jacksonville did trail 5-2 and found a way to tie it up at 5-all towards the end of the first half. What's the key to sparking another run at home?
They've got to get possession somehow, some way. They're trying with another pole at the face-off axe, Andrew Mitchell this time. I think we've had 4 or 5 different guys face off right now. They've got to get the ball. 5
different players took face-offs last week at Detroit, and like we've said before, it has not mattered because Brian Smith has just dominated all day.
So they want this pressure on the face-off guy right now. You've got an experienced senior defender on the face-off guy who aren't necessarily known to be great stick handlers, and the heavy pressure's coming. And there's a check from the attackman. Burns got a little check in. They want to stay. You want to shut off the adjacent right now. You do not want to let anyone open for a pass, and they gave up the adjacent pass. As I was saying it, you really want to force the Fogo to carry.
Freshman Troy Hedinger. A little bit too much space, and now Duke can settle in, but that took up almost half the shot clock. Second line on the field for Duke, including Brad Smith.
Boy, I like the way Heat's playing right now, on ball and off ball, the freshman defender, number 22 for Jacksonville.
Badur looking around, has a lane.
Goal and a penalty.
Penalty markers down. They still haven't signaled if it's a good goal. Still no signal, but either way, it's going to be a good play for Duke because it can get its man up back on the field and try to take a bigger lead here in the third quarter.
There's really no help. There's not a slide. You see him allow that. It was a little half-hearted effort by Dixon Smith. He threw a check. He hedged. He didn't come hard. But a nice angle. Way to get your stick back to the front. He went from the left hand to the right hand.
Now, would it go against Duke, perhaps, because it's Jacksonville going to its attacking third, and maybe because he did dive right at the goalkeeper's cell. So even with the new rule in place, you got to protect the goalkeepers.
Yeah, if there's contact, they're going to call it. So what a break for Jacksonville.
Man-up unit on the field.
That's going to be a 1-minute penalty, so Jacksonville has an opportunity to close this gap up. You've got Winston out there, a little quiet on the day.
Jacksonville 1 for 3 in this unit today, but did score its only man-up goal when it had a full-minute penalty. Jack Dolan burns the grad transfer in front, and Pucci scores his first career goal, and it couldn't have come at a better time. Just like that, it's a 2-goal deficit for the Dolphins.
Great vision by Jeremy Winston, the sophomore, and great poise and finishing ability by Pucci on the doorstep, the freshman. So the sophomore to the freshman. When we take a look at this, what I want you to focus on is Pucci's head once he catches the ball. Little head fake, up, down, get that goalie moving, find the space behind him. So that's the poise I'm talking about. And Pucci had a rough shooting day last week. This might just get him going.
That's a layup right there for any player, especially if you're 6'5". Like you mentioned, even if you are that tall and you have that advantage over a 5'8" goalkeeper and Upgren, just pick and choose your spot, and right there, it doesn't help when you're a man down for Duke's defense.
So the goal on the other end was taken off the board. Jacksonville puts one back up on this end, so we'll call that a 2-goal swing. This time it was Dixon Smith facing off. So we've seen 3 different poles face off for Jacksonville to no avail.
Now Prendergast gives it up to Brad Smith, and the attacking player is back out onto the field.
So Jacksonville looking to get their matchups. Duke is being patient, substituting. Got the short stick on Seo.
Rolls back, has a lot of room, opens it up, and Quigley denied.
That's way too much time and space to give a shooter, and Hunter Sells came up big.
Got a bounce shot, too. I know you as the former goalkeeper. Are those the toughest ones to try to see where they're going to bounce?
Well, on artificial turf, it's a little bit of a truer bounce, so Pucci let one rip into the side of the net. It was just great positioning by Hunter Sells. I'm not going to say harder or more difficult, but he just had a good look at it. He got to face the shooter.
Quigley across midfield.
It's not exactly the mud and dirt fields of upstate New York with snow and slush, so he got a nice true bounce and great positioning and form from Hunter Sells.
Come on, Jacksonville!
So once again, Jacksonville in that 6-on-6 defense where they feel comfortable.
And even John Galloway said with his team down 4 or 5 goals at Detroit last week in the fourth quarter, said with these new rules, you don't have to feel the pressure to start double teaming and taking more chances on defense that could result in more goals.
Good help. That was good help from Jacksonville. That's team defense. We want to see a little more of that on the Dolphin side.
Ground ball at midfield, and it's going to go to the Dolphins.
Over and back, quick restart to Pucci. A little too quick. Big ground ball battle.
Giles Harris knocks it over to Upgren as Pucci gives chase, and an opportunity lost there for the Dolphins.
Boy, what a chance. A little over-anxious. Opportunity for Jacksonville to get a quick restart and just an errant pass.
Duke hasn't played its best today, but a couple of big runs has resulted in a 2-goal lead, despite those 11 turnovers.
We saw Furman play with Duke, and obviously High Point run away from Duke. This is a tough Southern Conference. This is a young conference, but these teams, these coaches in the Southern Conference, just phenomenal, and these athletes are competing.
After High Point Wednesday, Colgate yesterday, could it be the year of the underdog in college lacrosse? Manown behind the cage, wrapping around. And his pass is in front of Quigley.
Another over and back call.
Van Raphorst couldn't save it.
So let's see if Jacksonville shows a little more poise into the offensive end. See how they do 6-on-6. Keep an eye on 44, Evan Tyler. He's got 3 on the day, and he's got the ball.
After 3 goals in the opening 3 minutes of the second half, Jacksonville has steadied the ship once again. Shot. Looked like it was blocked, saved away. Now loose in front of the crease.
Boy, those are the ground balls you want to win. Duke player calling for a penalty, but I think it's going to be a loose ball push against Jacksonville. Just a change of possession.
In the midst of the chaos, that is what it seems to be, Ray. Is just a good chance right there. Don't know if it deflected off of Raphorst, but another quick look, and Troy Hedinger couldn't get his first career goal there. Right at midfield. Another turnover. Bodies flying.
Dixon Smith into the offense.
No penalty marker down, but here's a chance for Eric Applegate to go to work. 4 points already for the senior captain.
Looks like that offense has gotten the message to just calm down a little bit. Doesn't mean don't be aggressive, don't push it, but you don't have to do it every time.
Alec Drosos. Back to Tyler, who has a hat trick today. Drosos past Terry Lindsay. Setting up the shot, and it rolls past Upgren. It's a 1-goal game again, and Jacksonville refuses to go away.
Catch and release. It's not just hunting and fishing. That was Troy Hedinger with the quick release. From the time that ball hit his stick to the time it was heading in the other direction was just a fraction of a second. That means getting your feet, getting your body in position to catch and shoot. You don't have to move if you're in the right position to start.
Another freshman playing with confidence, and it was set up on the pass by Drosos, drawing the defense in, and the long pole defenseman, Jack Fowler, couldn't get there in time.
I would think Turner Upgren wants that one back. He had decent position. He got it. He just kind of spilled it back into the goal. So 9-8. Sean, we got a ball game here with 7:47 to go in the third.
Faceoffs continuing to be a problem. As Andrew Mitchell taking the face-off for Jacksonville, but a ground ball, Dolan fighting for it. Out of bounds, and it's Dolphin ball.
We saw the strategy there. We saw it a couple times in the first half. Jacksonville's got the pole facing off. He's not afraid to lose the clamp. He wants to win the ground ball, and that's what Jacksonville did. They made it a 50-50 ground ball, and here comes Jeremy Winston.
Sells going 30 yards away from his goal. Jack Dolan passes it off. Will Berkeley. Jacksonville trying to tie it up after Duke scored 3 straight goals. But a bad pass gives it right back to the Blue Devils. And that, if you're a Jacksonville fan, makes you want to hit yourself in the head just with a facepalm.
You saw me do that?
Yeah, you had the opportunity, but right now for Jacksonville, like John Galloway said before the game, you have to execute. It's not just about playing hard.
But you can't look back either. You don't have to be perfect. Just execute. Get the ball back.
Ledman couldn't swim past Dolan. Nakai Montgomery.
Jacksonville starting to extend out on those midfielders.
Brad Smith trying to put an end to this Jacksonville spurt.
Little late recovery. Jacksonville was a little late recovering on that off-ball side.
Jake Sayow. Looked like it got poked out of his stick. And Jack Heed, the long pole, gives it up to Hunter Sells.
Duke's doing a lot of dodging right at that goal line, and Jacksonville's doing a nice job of diminishing that angle, pushing them behind, and nice clear as Evan Tyler breaks into the offense. Great defensive stand, Sean, and that's what Jacksonville needs. They threw the ball away at the other end, but they won it back on defense.
It seems like the only time Duke has really gotten in a rhythm is when it's moved quick.
Yeah, that 6-on-6 is strong. What a move by Tyler.
See what he can do here. No flag, might have been held by Sayow.
So Tyler's got the short stick behind as he inverts, sets the pick.
Pucci rolling around with Fowler on his back. In front, Bo Hunter denied!
What a great move by Pucci, switching it back and getting Bo Hunter on the run, but it was a nice save by Upgren.
And out of frustration, a penalty on the freshman Bo Hunter. Couldn't finish at point-blank range.
Pucci switches it, keeps his head up. Look at Bo Hunter's got it in his left hand on the doorstep. And just a nice job by Upgren to hold his position and make the save.
Tell you what, for a player like Bo Hunter, he converts that play 99% of the time, and you see the push on Fowler right after the miss.
So you want to play good 6-on-6 defense. You've been doing it, and now you give Duke an extra man opportunity.
Blue Devils had an extra man goal to open the third quarter.
Listen, penalties are going to happen. You don't want them to happen on offense.
Sean Lowry.
Oh, the crease is open.
Shot and it goes wide.
Really nice job by Walsh slipping into that space in front of the goal.
Bo Hunter with a freshman mistake. Duke trying to take advantage. Badur throws it past to cutting Robertson. Riley Walsh still with it now with Brad Smith.
Penalties up. Jacksonville, nice job balancing up, finding their man, and getting back into that 6-on-6. So a good kill by Jacksonville, bailing Bo Hunter out.
It was just a 30-second technical. Still Duke with the ball on attack, 30 seconds on the shot clock.
Those middies are trying to get underneath on that wing dodge. Here we go once again. That wing dodge has been their MO.
Robertson, who's been quiet today, sets up Riley Walsh.
So much time and space.
And a much-needed lift for the Blue Devils after nearly going 8 minutes scoreless. And it's a 2-goal lead again for the Blue Devils on the road.
Yeah, Jacksonville did a nice job killing that penalty. They got balanced up. Duke kept attacking from that wing on the wing dodge. Jacksonville's so aggressive on ball. Look at that time and space. There's no one within 3-4 yards when he starts winding up.
Sell's been put in a lot of position to go one-on-one with these really talented shooters of Duke.
Listen, you want your goalie to make those saves from 12, 13, 14 yards and out, but when you have that much time and room against such talented shooters, balls moving anywhere from 90 to 100 miles an hour probably on that time and space shot, it's hard. It's a little ball and a big goal. So Sells is doing the best he can.
Another face-off win for the Blue Devils. Smith.
Here's where they want to shut off the adjacent and try to put the pressure on that Fogo. Pressure's coming. They're pushing that double team.
Just being absolutely harassed by Dixon Smith and Andrew Mitchell. Manown open. Can't put it in the back of the net. Robertson backs it up. Still 4 minutes to play in the third quarter.
You got to give a lot of credit to that faceoff guy under heavy pressure, being able to move that ball to the open guy. Under duress.
Kai Montgomery.
Picking on ball now is Duke. Oh, nice. Get your stick in the lane, bat one down.
Another battle for a ground ball. Duke's
There's
won the
a push.
majority of them today.
You got to call that push. There it is.
The loose ball push gives it back to Jacksonville. Like Dolan took a slip there near the 35-yard line. You can see Duke doubling up Jacksonville. But it seems like even with the advantage at the face-off X and the ground ball battle, that Duke hasn't exactly taken advantage of it.
They're in trouble right now. Heavy pressure as the freshman's carrying it across the midfield line. Good job by Dolan to keep the ball in play, but we've got 60 seconds on the shot clock.
Ball still loose. Prendergast battling for Duke and Pucci there. But finally it's Jack Fowler stepping up. Transition opportunity. Peter Welch off to Kevin Quigley, who quiets down his team. And
Duke did a good job of recognizing that the freshman Jordan Young, the close defender, had the ball at the midfield line. They let him go across, then they jumped him. Then they put the pressure on.
Quigley was open but didn't look to shoot.
Good topside defense once again by Heed. Very impressed with that freshman.
Smith looking for the pick.
Look at Barnhorst just hitting that stick in there.
Now gets the short stick. Levangie. Both take a tumble. Looked like Smith got his stick knocked out of his hand. And Jacksonville regains possession with just over 2 to play in the third.
We've seen some really good defense out of Jacksonville. Granted, they've had plenty of breakdowns, but when they're on, they are on. Taking it away. Good team defense. Here's Evan Tyler with a head of steam.
Dolan with space. Now with Applegate, the best distributor on the Jacksonville roster. Sets up Pucci. Bounce shot blocked away by Upgren.
And it looks like Levangie's limping off the field. I think that one got his teammate in the ankle.
Van Raphorst finds a cutting Robertson. It's a good goal, and like clockwork, the transition game for Duke gives the Blue Devils a 3-goal lead again.
Transition, and there it was. You're seeing these guys for Duke wide open on the doorstep, and they do a nice job of catching and finishing.
Wow, in the blink of an eye, what a
sneaking.
great cut and an even better pass. Fabulous footwork. That's just a sophomore. I feel bad for those teams in the ACC because right when you thought you got rid of Justin Gutterding, you have this kid, Joe Robertson, who had 48 goals a year ago, the third most by a freshman in Duke history, and he's starting to look like he can fill that scoring void left by Gutterding.
Andrew Mitchell back in at the faceoff spot for Jacksonville with that long pull. See if he just tries to step back and make some checks or if he tries to actually win this clamp.
Got a piece of the ground ball.
So now it's a 50-50 battle, and Duke comes up with it.
But a turnover on the pass by Smith.
Hedinger, nice ground ball.
Jacksonville needs a goal before the end of the third quarter because Duke has just been dominating in most facets of the game. "15-second differential between the shot clock and the game clock. Jacksonville not trying to hold here. Pucci. Drosos looking for Bowhunter, gets it knocked away, and Van Raphorst, the All-American, scoops up yet another ground ball.
Good job by Duke getting those sticks in the lane. Drosos threw some sticks, and it got batted down, and that's a turnover for Jacksonville. And Duke with the ball, under a minute to go in the quarter.
Blue Devils haven't led by more than 3 all afternoon. They've been getting a tough test on the road. Third straight Southern Conference team it's played to open the season. Boys that had to grow up without Justin Gutterding, but also goalkeeper Danny Fowler. National runner-ups from a year ago. Getting another test today. Third game in a week 15 seconds left in the third. Quigley dodges, sets up Manown, but he's stopped by Sells.
Huge save. That's a big save to end the quarter.
Pass intercepted by Van Raphorst, but with 1 second left. Late shot deflected. That's the end of the third quarter. So another spurt by Duke. Has it up 3 going into the final 15 minutes. Does Jacksonville have another run in them? We'll find out when we return after Duke has a dominating third quarter on the road, looking to pick up its second win of the 2019 campaign.
Parking splat, and we covered it. Talk to farmers. We know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Wow. What a nice place. Hey, Grandma. What are you doing here?
Eat.
Okay. I'll see you on Sunday.
Bye-bye.
Make it what you want.
Due to the citywide outbreak, you are advised to take shelter at the police station.
Anybody here?
I don't like the sound of that.
We're getting out of here. Leon!
My mission is to take down Umbrella's entire operation. They're secretly making bioweapons.
Count me in.
Available now for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. Rated M for mature.
Sweat! Dedication!
Cupcakes!
We play football together for the Titans.
Now, we own a cupcake shop. I love this new Surface Pro. It's light, it's sleek, it's fast. Cupcakes are a great business.
As long as you don't eat the profits.
Start of the fourth quarter, and head coach John Danowski looking for yet another win over Jacksonville. Team he's already beaten 8 times, one of 3 teams he's has a record of 5-0 or better against. And John Galloway, the kid he's mentored ever since he graduated from Syracuse, and Galloway joining his staff in 2012 in a run to the Final Four, and just how dominating Duke's been in this series. Like you said, Ray, this is a game that Jacksonville's been staying neck and neck with, and like Detroit, it was down 3 goals going into the fourth quarter a week ago and had a comeback that just fell short by 1 goal.
Jacksonville won that fourth quarter at Detroit 4-2. They have to do a little bit better today. They ran out of time last week. Getting and keeping possession, that's going to be the key to this fourth quarter.
Fourth quarter, Duke got outscored on Wednesday night against High Point 7-3. Including 6 goals in less than 5 minutes. Well, it helps when you have possession like this because Duke, like you said in the break, Ray, just the fact that they've had all these ground balls, won all these face-offs, it makes it that much tougher for your opponent to come back when you dominate those 2 facets.
And Tim Troutner Jr. for High Point had 19 saves, just an amazing performance, and Jacksonville needs to get the ball, whether it's by the goalie making the save or somehow creating turnovers.
Riley Walsh bounce shot a little bit too high and out of the way of Sells. Again, Brad Smith there to back it up, but still 30 seconds on the shot clock.
We can take a run at the short stick defender here.
Hayden Levangie still limping on the sidelines for Jacksonville.
Yeah, he took a shot on the crease earlier. Saw him limp off.
Walsh to Quigley into the back of the net, and Duke has its largest lead of the game here in the first minute of the fourth quarter.
So much time and room. Wind up, pick your spot, get every ounce of energy into that. Probably about 95 miles an hour. That's what my radar gun says. Jacksonville they're giving a lot of pressure on the ball, but give Duke credit. When they see that double, that slide, that hedge, they're moving the ball.
See, Mitchell just lost sight of Quigley for a moment. Good recognition by the upperclassman to slip away and set himself up for another shot. But what is Jacksonville doing differently in this second half, or is it just another case of ball watching?
Well, I don't know if it's necessarily ball watching. Mitchell got caught in no man's land. You have to decide whether to go or not go. You can't play halfway, and he got caught playing halfway. It's called hedging. You want to make that guy think you're coming, but every once in a while you have to go, or else they don't believe it anymore. You're getting caught in no man's land. That's what Mitchell did.
Loose ball. And finally, after a whistle, it's going to go to Jacksonville. Dolphins trying to take advantage. Levangie back out onto the field, limping no more. Fires a bullet, but can't connect.
Must have found some of that miracle spray those soccer players use. He's right back out there. Full speed. Good chance.
And like you said, goalies take that 10 times a day in practice. You're good.
I did say that, and looks like Levangie shook it off. So good possession here for Jacksonville. They need to cut into this lead.
How about for Duke? We talk about replacing a guy like Justin Gutterding, who finished his career with the most goals in NCAA history. Well, when you have a cast like this, different guys are going to step up every game.
Pucci can shoot left-handed or right-handed. He's got a great release, and he's got a short stick on him right now. So you want to clear everyone away and take advantage of this size matchup and skill matchup.
Gets past him. The shot still wide.
I think that's
Applegate dives.
Second pipe in a row for Jacksonville. Hedinger had a good look through traffic, just hit the bar.
New shot clock for the Dolphins. Applegate, who had 4 points in the first half.
So
Quiet in the third.
Pucci's still got that short stick on him. Jacksonville's got to find a way. I don't know if they're trying to shut him off. They're face guarding him right now, but he should be able to find that ball.
John Prendergast, one of the best at his position in the country. Trying to limit the touches for sure. Even Bo Hunter has been very quiet today with JT Giles Harris 2 and blue on him. Evan Tyler already with the hat trick.
Nice double.
Double team forces the turnover, led by Giles Harris.
There's a 4-on-3 break.
Welch the long pull to Giles Harris. Up to Smith, but he loses the handle on it. Loose ball in front, and Jordan Young comes away with it. Pass nearly stronger.
Nice job by Winston
Almost
to handle
gets away.
They've got numbers trailing. Evan Tyler was trailing. That's an offensive player trailing, and that's a bad turnover for Jacksonville.
Need a sense of urgency out of these Dolphins, but it's committed a couple of unforced errors as a result.
A little bit of lack of vision and communication by Jacksonville. They had numbers. They had an open offensive player with a head of steam behind them, and they forced it forward.
Dolphins have hung tough, but Duke starting to break away in this fourth quarter. Garrett Ledman, really the only freshman to get significant minutes in the first week of the season for the Blue Devils. Trying to set up Smith.
Nice swim move there, finding the open man.
Montgomery still somehow gets that ground ball. Still in possession with Duke, 30 seconds on the shot clock. Robertson to Ledman.
There's the double. Barnhorst comes in with heavy pressure.
Takes a couple of whacks as well as he gives it up to Sean Lowry, the senior. 10 seconds on the shot clock. Manown looking for 4, but it's wide.
Most likely they'll roll it in the corner or force one to the crease here with 3 seconds left on the shot clock.
A lot of subs going on to the field for Duke, so you just see the pass limiting any transition opportunity for Jacksonville.
Nice defensive stand for JU.
And that's the benefit of having the shot clock, too. You don't have to wait for that to come on anymore, and even a few years prior to that, where you just had to find a way to get a stop at all costs, and sometimes that gives your opponent a much better way or to score or to get some better looks.
And it takes the discretion out of the referee's hands. A lot of referees called it differently, when to put that shot clock on or the stall warning. So now I love this.
10 minutes, still plenty of time, but Jacksonville has to show a little pep in their step.
So you got McKenna on, number 23. He's an attackman / midi with a shorty behind the goal.
Jack Dolan cutting towards goal, but his shot goes wide.
Jacksonville's getting some looks. They've hit a couple pipes. That was a good shot opportunity for Jacksonville. They've got to find a way to get it past Upgren.
Similar case against Detroit where 8 goals on 48 shots, and that's just something John Galloway said. Okay, well, sometimes you just have those days where you can't hit anything, but you want to keep attacking, you want to stay confident, and eventually those things you practice are going to work out for you.
That's deflected off a Duke stick. A little bit of a forced pass, trying to skip it through to the backside, but it doesn't hurt Jacksonville because it did go off the cross of the Duke player.
4 seconds on the shot clock. Bowhunter gives it up, and it goes right to Upgren.
Great
pass on a shot.
Great defensive stand by Duke.
Blue Devils get it across midfield. Plenty of time left in this one. The Duke, with another goal, you have to think would ice this one on the road. Let's see both teams committing a healthy amount of turnovers in the first week of the season, but still it's Duke, that a team that could have come into this one and even been a little shell-shocked, especially after that run by the Dolphins to end the first half, came out ready to play like a national championship contender in the third quarter. And again, it's not that the SoCon is a slouch and these should all be blowout games. I mean, it's getting a tough test, and with coming down to the wire, Duke is starting to excel.
That's a nice save by Sells. Watch this rebound, though.
And it goes in for Joe Robertson, another goal for the sophomore. And Duke can almost feel win number 2 this year.
You know, I've been in that position of Hunter Sells right now. You feel like you're doing everything you can. You've got these shots coming on the doorsteps, guys with time and space. And here, he makes a nice save, and the rebound just splashes out, and there's no JU player to help clean up the mess or put a body on him.
See, Andrew Mitchell a little slow to react. There's not a lot of
bodies
bodies around there for Joe Robertson. Cleans it up.
Yeah, so Sells has got to fight frustration right now. He made a nice save right there. Those rebounds are tough to swallow, and Barnhorst comes on to try to turn the tide at the faceoff spot.
It'll be an interesting development because for Jacksonville, this isn't the only tough test it's going to face in the next couple of weeks. Marquette comes to town next week, and a week after that, a nationally televised game against Michigan. It's another ranked team coming to town. What does Jacksonville have to clean up? Obviously, the ground ball battle and face-off X you need to get better at, but how do you improve those things on a weekly basis?
I would not be surprised to start seeing some other players come in the mix at the midfield line. They've got to find somebody who can carry the ball and make the defense move, create a dodge, get that defense to have to slide, because right now it's not happening. Winston had a great freshman season. He's got to find a way to create some offense.
Another save made by Upgren. He is locked in after not making a single save in the fourth quarter on Wednesday. He has stopped any chance at a Jacksonville comeback in the last 15-plus minutes.
Yeah, that ball, that shot by Evan Tyler, it looked like it hit the ground right in front of him and took all the pace off of it. It was a nice save by Upgren.
Even still, for a guy that only had 200 minutes in his career in 3 years, now taking over the starting spot in goal, it's got to build your confidence when you're stopping any kind of shot in a fourth quarter in a game on a road.
Nice handle. Great save.
Montgomery can't finish on the laser beam. And Sells telling his teammates to go upfield as he finds Levangie. Bowhunter denied
save.
Again. Second time Bowhunter's been within striking distance and couldn't finish.
I don't know if Jacksonville's telegraphing those shots a little bit. I've seen a lot of low to low. They're catching it low and shooting it low. Might need to change that up a little bit because Upgren was down on the ground before Bowhunter even released that shot.
And even remember, the one goal Jack Pucci had, he gave a little fake, and even though he has 8-9 inch height advantage on him, he still made him guess once or twice before putting it in the back of the net.
So despite that save, Jacksonville maintains possession, and here's Applegate. The other thing about Jacksonville's attack, they don't have a lot of dodgers. Applegate's a dodger. The rest of those attackmen like to catch and finish. You don't see them beating their men in space one-on-one.
Applegate throwing his stick up in the air looking for something. Gets it from Tyler. Rolls around, but Van Raphorst on him. Gets hit by the double team, and a timeout called by John Galloway. 15 seconds on the shot clock, and not much was developing on that possession.
Eric ran into a little bit of a double team, and I think Coach sensed that he was being a little over-aggressive and called that timeout to reset. 15 seconds is plenty of time to get something drawn up and get a good shot off.
A timeout. We'll see what Jacksonville draws up when we come back in the final minutes of the fourth quarter.
At Farmers, we've seen almost everything, so we know how to cover almost anything, even a huge drag. Nothing worth losing sleep over because we covered it. Talk to Farmers. We know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Wow. What a nice place. Hey, Grandma. What are you doing here?
Eat.
Okay. I'll see you on Sunday.
Bye-bye.
Make it what you want.
Turner Upgren has come ready to play after a tough performance Wednesday night. Doesn't matter how much he's gotten, maybe even a little help from the post as well, but in the fourth quarter, Ray, he has really made a couple of big stops to stymie any chance at a Jacksonville run.
Yeah, he's done a nice job. You see him standing tall on the high shots, going down and getting those low shots. There's low to low right there. Nice save. And he's been pretty sharp in the outlet passing as well. Jacksonville back on offense now.
10 seconds on the possession for the Dolphins as Duke coach John Danowski watches on. Shot that looked like it got tipped off the stick of Upgren. Right now it just says 2 seconds on the shot clock. They're not going to reset it for Jacksonville as it runs out and it's another turnover.
Boy, Coach Galloway and the coaching staff are calling for that reset. They don't get it, and here comes Duke the other way.
Another quick look at it. Bowhunter blocking Upgren, but still, thought that might have been good enough to get a shot clock reset. I guess that's the judgment call that referees have to make nowadays with this new rule change. But even in a 5-goal game, just over 4 minutes left, it seems like the Dolphins just were close, but like you mentioned, maybe just a little too overwhelming given the advantage Duke has had in the ground ball battle and just face-off X today.
And you don't know about the conditioning either. That's something we'll ask Coach after the game. Does he feel like his team had the stamina to play 4 quarters? Because they held their own for 2.5 at least, and they've got a little fight left in them.
So that being said, take that out of the equation, Ray. Robertson gets another goal. He has come alive in the second half after we were tied 6-6. Duke came out with 3 goals in less than 3 minutes. And even though Jacksonville came back to within 1 goal, that's now 5 straight from the Blue Devils. What can Jacksonville learn just from John Danowski's team and the culture Duke has to winning these games on the road?
Well, a lot of times on these goals, we're seeing guys open, and that's a breakdown in defense. It's either somebody ball watching, not staying with your man, or running into a pick. And so I think when Coach Galloway, you see him talking to his Chargers right now, they're going to go break down this film, break down each individual goal, and find out why these players are getting so open. That's something you can clean up. Talent you can't fix overnight, but scheme you can.
Talking to the freshman Troy Hedinger, just remember Duke has 15 fourth or fifth year seniors. Meanwhile, for Jacksonville, it has 24 freshmen and 28 total newcomers. So this is a team that it's just so many moving parts where, yeah, you have some of those upperclassmen like Eric Applegate and even Evan Tyler, a fourth-year guy who has a hat trick today. But he's got a very talented bunch, but like you said, it's going to take some game time. It's going to take some mistakes for them to clean up and become sound units on both sides of the field.
The most troubling thing for me, though, is the face-offs right now, because they've basically bailed on having their Fogos, their short stick face-off specialists, face off right now. They're going poles every time, and they're not even winning.
Montgomery's shot saved by Sells. How about Duke's defense holding Jacksonville scoreless in the fourth quarter? Dolphins hung tough. It was 6-6 at halftime and looked like we were going to have a one game come down to the finish, but give Duke credit for blowing this one open, especially in the fourth quarter.
A little bit of a short turnaround with Marquette coming into town Friday night. Great test for Jacksonville to see if they can rebound. Put this behind them. You know, sometimes young guys can do that easier than old guys because this is just all new to them.
Take a look at the upcoming schedule. We mentioned, too, Michigan, number 20 team in the country right now in a nationally televised game, and then a couple of games on the road at neutral sites against Towson, and a top 10 team in Penn State that surely will provide another big test to Jacksonville, because that's what John Galloway said. We expect to be the underdog for those next 5-6 games. We're okay. We want to embrace it because we know you got to crack a few eggs to make an omelet. It's going to take some losses to get these guys to play together. And in all honesty, too, John Galloway is a guy that hasn't been used to losing in his career. When he was a player at Syracuse and then transitioning into a coach at Duke, even his professional career going 7-0 in Israel over the summer, it's just as new to him as it is to everyone else.
His teams have gotten better towards the end of the season every year, much like his mentor John Danowski's teams, even in his first year, losing all of their opening games and winning their final 3 through 4 to get to that conference tournament. So if I'm coach, I'm looking at my players. Who has peaked? Which one of these guys is never going to get better? Most of these guys are going to get better. They're going to get smarter. They're going to get more savvy, and the arrow's pointing up. They just want to do it and be ready to go come conference play and maybe steal a couple of these out-of-conference games, whether it be Marquette, Michigan, Drexel, or those 2 games in Charlotte against Towson and Penn State. Boy, just saying those teams right now, that's a murderer's row lineup. But you know what? Once they get into the Richmonds, the Furmans, and High Points, they will be battle-tested.
Well, that's what John Galloway said before the game. We don't want to run away. We want to embrace it. We want to push back. We saw that at times throughout these 60 minutes this afternoon, but just not enough as Duke has overpowered Jacksonville in the second half. Another breakout for the Blue Devils. Transition opportunity, and Robertson finishes again on the doorstep, and the tic-tac-toe passing finishes the Duke win.
Duke has the confidence right now. They may have been a little battered after even the first half against Furman, and certainly a low point against High Point. I need to say that. They are firing on all cylinders right now. So you've got somewhat dejected Jacksonville team and a sky-high Duke team that shows right now in this level of play from each of these squads.
Meanwhile, for Duke, Coach Bill Tierney going to Durham next weekend. Also Penn and Richmond and Loyola coming up too. They got a big game tonight.
Yeah, that's going to be an awesome game. You know, this lacrosse season it's just so much fun to watch. All of these teams, call them mid-level teams competing, and who really is a top 20 team anymore. And there's not a lot of upsets traditionally out of those top 20, but I think this year is going to be just out of control. I think that's a goalie change for Duke.
60 seconds left in the game. Shot clock above that mark. Duke can hold and not have to put a shot on goal to finish up win number 2 this season. A team trying to get back to Memorial Day weekend, win another national championship. It's 4th under Coach John Danowski and 4th in program history after being so close, losing by just a couple of goals to Yale last May.
Absolutely. So 38 seconds left on the clock. That was a high point for Jacksonville with a nice defensive check away, but I believe there's going to be an upcoming penalty and a man-down opportunity. That's Bowhunter once again taking a knee in the heading over to timeout there in the penalty box.
Had a 2-minute penalty last week, and that's his second today. Some freshman mistakes from Jacksonville. 7 penalties a week ago that resulted in 3 man-up goals for Detroit. And ample opportunities for the Blue Devils to score on the extra man, but haven't exactly taken advantage of that today. But you got to limit those opportunities. And kind of swallow that frustration at times.
You want to be able to practice your extra man even with a big lead. So, Duke's out there slinging the ball around. Jacksonville's got some new players in there fighting hard, trying to show that they deserve to be on the field as well. And Duke's not slowing down.
Outshot too high.
So 12 seconds left. Duke is still pushing it, keeping the ball, trying to get some of these younger players an opportunity and some experience. Oh, what a nice play. Just off the mark.
But not on goal.
That was Cameron Muley.
Out of 4 seconds on the clock, and Duke runs away in the fourth quarter. It was a 3-goal lead, and it ends up being a 7-goal win here on the road. The Blue Devils show some championship toughness and run away with this one after it was tied at halftime as well. What do you make of this, Ray, after watching these 60 minutes of both teams now trending in different directions?
Well, the question that Coach Galloway has to ask himself and the team is, are we the first half or the second half? Which defines us? And I think it's going to be the first half. These guys have a lot of maturing to do. There's so many young players out there. Can they do it for 4 quarters against a quality team? And what's it going to take to get to that point?
Mentor beats the mentee here at DB Milne Field this afternoon. Jacksonville gave Duke a test through 3 quarters, but in the end, the Blue Devils run away with this one with a final score of 15-8. So for Ray Cardacelli, I'm Sean Salisbury saying so long from Jacksonville University. Remember, all games airing on the ESPN networks are streamed live and archived on the ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN.